Our speaker for this evening's District 6 monthly motivation is distinguished Toastmaster Colleen Marie Kelly. Colleen Marie has been a Toastmaster since February 2018 and is the District 6 Administration Manager for the 2020-2021 Toastmaster year, as well as a mentor for a newly chartered club, UPS Minneapolis. She is currently serving as president for Readership Toastmasters and has successfully coached 2 clubs to presidential distinguished. She completed 2 legacy DTMs in 28 months. She enjoys bike riding, swimming, hiking, time with friends, and traveling. Her greatest passion is helping individuals and organizations step into their full potential. She believes that each one of us has a unique set of strengths, abilities, and passions that, if utilized, can enable us to make a unique and positive difference in the world we touch. Colleen Marie will encourage us dare to dream so that we can be all that we were born to be. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Colleen Marie Kelly as she shares Dare to Dream. Dare to Dream, Colleen Marie Kelly.
Before I begin, I just want to ask everyone to make sure you have a pen and piece of paper handy. And just know that you're not going to be taking tons of notes, but there's going to be some key points along our discussion tonight that will help you as you write out your action plan for the end of tonight. So I'll give you just a minute for that. Mr. District Director, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest. How many of you can think of a time that someone said, "I dare you"? Can I see your hands? A lot of times that may have been as a kid. Usually as adults, we don't hear those words quite phrased like that. And those dares can come in various different packages. Some are very silly and very stupid dares, and then some not so nice, and yet there are some positive ones. I'm going to share with you a very silly and very stupid dare that I responded to when I was in junior high. It was known as the sissy test. And what that was is that the school bullies, in order for you not to be a sissy in their sight, you had to take the bully test. And the bully test is that they would take a pencil and they would rub your hand for as long as they felt like doing that. And if you bled, you were a sissy. If you didn't, you weren't, and you were off the hook. Fortunately, I didn't bleed, and so I was off the hook with the school bully. At the same time, it left a nasty scar, which was like one of those silly things that I'm like, why in the world did I ever do that? Can you think of a time that you had someone did a silly dare with you that you wished you didn't quite participate in? What was that time like for you, Carrie?
My marriage, which ended in divorce, so.
Okay. Well, tonight, this will definitely not end in divorce. I promise you that. Tonight, I'm going to dare you in the absolute best way possible. I am going to dare you to dream. And I want you to think about that, because sometimes as adults, we have this responsibility hat that we put on. We're taking care of our home, of our kids, doing all the things that we need to do. And those are all good things. Yet there are times we need to dream. I love this quote. It says, dream big like a child, because children don't dream about surviving or getting ahead. They dream about flying. How many of you can think of a dream you had when you were a kid? Can I see your hands? Jamie, what was one of the dreams you had as a kid?
Of being a fashion designer.
Wow, that is really cool. What are some other childhood dreams that people had? Does anyone else want to share?
Tim McGee, Colleen, when I was little, I wanted to fly like Superman, just like your graphics shows. And so I went on to become an instrument-rated pilot. Became a big part of my life.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I remember one of my dreams as a kid, either I was going to be like Wonder Woman. That was one of my goals, or Casper the Friendly Ghost. And they seem very different, but yet their goal was the same. They wanted to help people, and they both could fly. So thank you, Tim. I agree with that desire to fly, and it's still one of my goals to be a pilot one day. The reason why we need to dream, or better yet, maybe give yourself permission that even with all the responsibilities that are on your shoulders, take time to dream. I want you to think for a moment that if the sky was the limit, there was no limitations and cost was no options, what would you do with your life? I want you to think about that for a moment. So George, if you could do anything in the world, what would you do?
I would make the world safe for all people.
Okay, good. Do you know how you would do that?
No, I think talking to people, working with people, teaching them that as one gentleman's shirt says on, we're all one.
Excellent. And I think if we went around the room, we could talk about dreams. And on your piece of paper that you've written, think of a dream that you would like to see become a reality in your life. Think about that for a moment. And write that down on your piece of paper. There will be some dreams in life that we've had our whole life. I know some people that ever since they were little, they wanted to be a firefighter or they wanted to be a pilot like Tim was. They've had that in them their whole life. And then there's other dreams that people have that it seems like circumstances led them to that dream and they didn't realize it, but that dream became a motivating factor in their life. Tonight, I'm going to share about a dream that I have that chased me rather than me chasing it. As many of you know, I'm in the process of writing my first book. It's called Defying the Odds, Hope and Healing for Those Who've Aged Out of Foster Care. This was not something I set out to do. Yes, I've always enjoyed creative writing. I've had people say, you need to write a book. But this particular book was not something I set out for. So if I didn't set out for it, why would I do it? The reality is the reason I did it is that I actually grew up in foster care. From the age of 3 until I was 18, I moved 10 to 13 times. I literally lived day to day, not knowing how long I would be in a given foster home. I didn't know. And then I was adopted at the age of 12, but my adopted mother was an alcoholic. And so there was severe abuse involved in the home that they said that there was literally no natural reason that I should have survived it. From going down flights of stairs, head bashed in the floor, come after with a wiffle ball bat. You couldn't even pat me on the back and said, "Hey, how's it going?" I would have flinched in fear, and a look of terror would have come over my face. And to get me to talk about the weather was like pulling teeth. That was a very difficult journey, and that I had actually a miraculous turning point when I was a freshman in high school, when my foster mother taught me what it was to have a personal relationship with Christ. And for me, that was a profound game changer in my life. I would get moved to several other foster homes before I would ultimately age out of foster care. And what I mean by aging out of foster care is that I didn't have a forever family. I didn't have anyone who claimed me. And if you know someone who's aged out of foster care, their reality is they know that they are the kid that no one wanted. That is a very painful reality. And so just as any adolescent between the age of 18 and 21 needs to make that critical transition from adolescence to adulthood, so is someone who's aged out of foster care. But most people have either their parents or other consistent caring adults in their lives to help them make that critical transition. I was a miracle story in many ways, that I went against all of the very painful statistics that are out there for those who have aged out of foster care. And fortunately, I had friends that became mentors to me to help me make that transition. So my why for writing the book is that I want to be a beacon of hope to other individuals who are aging out of the foster care system, as well as bring awareness to individuals and organizations who can help these individuals step onto the path of their potential. Because when someone steps on the path of their potential, it's amazing what they can do. My question for you is, what's your why? When you think of your dreams in your heart, the things that you would like to see a difference made in the world, what is the why behind that dream? I want you to think about that a moment and write that on your piece of paper, that what is your why? When you know what your why is, it will help motivate you and keep you going when it would be much easier to give up. And sometimes it's like, well, how do I fulfill my dream? How do I do that? When your why is big enough, you will begin to find your how. You won't look at the reasons you can't, you'll find a way to do how. Henry Thoreau is known for saying, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you imagined." What you need to do is you think about your dream and you think about the why that's behind your dream. You need to walk towards that dream. And as you do, you will begin to see that path unfold. How many of you have ever heard of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Okay. One of the things that I remember about this movie, if I remember nothing else about this, is that he was running as fast as he could. And it looked like at one point he was going to run off a cliff. And yet the closer he got to the cliff, the bridge began to appear. And as we walk towards our dream, and that we're intentional about our dream and moving towards our dream, we will begin to see that path unfold before us. And as we see that path, we need to keep that dream in front of us. We all live busy lives, and it seems like a lot of things get put to the back burner. How many can say that? There's been things that are really important to you, but it seems like in the craziness and the busyness of life, it gets put on the back burner. When it comes to your dreams, you need to be very intentional about keeping that in front of you. How many have seen a vision board and know what a vision board is? Okay. Who else? So Kathy, describe a vision board.
It's a project that you have for yourself to think about what your vision is, and whether it be in mind or in one phrase or sentence first, or if you build it from ideas. Usually a lot of times the project is to cut out certain things or have pictures and put them on this board, like courage, insight, I am beautiful, I am intelligent, and then eventually build your image of what you want to do.
That is excellent. Thank you, Kathy. And some people will use a vision board or they will do other things. I'm encouraging you to find a way to keep your dreams in front of you. Whatever that looks like to you, do that. Because we are all so unique and so different. Some of us are auditory, some of us are visual, some of us are a combination of things. Whatever it takes for you to keep your dream in front of you, then do it. Another very important thing is surround yourself with people who believe in you. We all have our critics. We all have our naysayers, whether or not we're talking about our professional life, our personal life, or even in Toastmasters, we all have our critics and naysayers. Find your advocates, find your supporters, find those who encourage you, who that they want to see you achieve your dream sometimes more than you do. How many of you have someone like that in your life, that you know that they believe in you and they believe in your potential? That is great. I was sharing about one of my dreams. And there is an individual who's on this call who, she's one of those people. She encourages in her own roundabout way. She actually can sometimes be a nag, but she's a loving nag. But she's not always that way. And I wouldn't necessarily accept just anyone being a nag, but because I know her heart towards me, when she starts bugging me about my book and like how far I am, it's like, okay, when about this timeline or that timeline? Because I know her heart towards me, I see that as a gift and I cherish that. And then I have others that are a little bit more gentler in their approach to their encouragement towards me. But we all need those people around us to encourage us in our journey. Because when we're down and we're discouraged and we feel like giving up, they will help us to keep moving forward. My next question for you is, what holds you back? If you think about your dream and you see your dream as a reflection of your potential, I want you to think for a moment, what is holding you back personally from stepping into your dream? Because that will look different for every person. I want you to think about that, and I want you to write something down on your paper. Very often, what holds us back is something that is called self-limiting beliefs. And according to Business Tut Plus, it says self-limiting beliefs are assumptions or perceptions that you have about yourself or about the way the world works. These assumptions are self-limiting because in some way they're holding you back from achieving what you're capable of. I want you to think about that for a moment. Self-limiting beliefs may be similar and yet varied in a group like this. All of us, because of the journey we've walked, the things that we've experienced, will form impressions, perceptions, thought patterns about ourselves and about the world around us. Growing up in foster care, at a young age, I bought the lie that said I had to be perfect, otherwise I would get sent off to another foster home. Growing up as a young child, I didn't understand all of the different reasons why a child could get moved from home to home. I assumed that because I was the common denominator, that it was because I was not perfect. At a young age, that drove me in a very not so positive way. It wouldn't be until I got older that I switched tracks from being perfectionism, where it was driving in fear, to a desire to do things with quality and excellence. The motivating factor are two very different things. When you're a person of quality and excellence, you want to add value to the world that you touch and have that expressed in the things that you do. Perfectionism is tied to identity, and that it's rooted very often in a fear of rejection. And I've come light years in that journey. But every now and again, that fear of rejection, that perfectionism will like to knock on my door and try to rear its ugly head. And I have to recognize it for what it is. I recognize that with this book. I also recognize that there are times that I battled. Could I do this? Could I actually write a book that was meaningful? As I shared with different people the vision of this book and the things that I had written about already, I was told that a book of this nature hadn't been written. Not saying that there hadn't been books written about individuals aging out of foster care. What they were saying is that basically this book is written as a message of hope. It defines the pain, the problem, the reality of what individuals aging out of foster care face. It shares my story as well as strategies of healing, because we all go through very painful and difficult things in life. And that would be true regardless of what our background is. And then I offer solutions. I offer ideas of what could set things on a path of continuous improvement. Basically, it's a book of hope written in Lean Sigma format. And if you're in project management, you understand what that is. And that is painting a clear and very organized picture. And so in my journey of writing this book, I've had to recognize those self-limiting beliefs that I've had. The fear of it not being perfect and the fear of being inadequate. And to overcome those things and to write what the message that was in my heart. My question is for you, what are your self-limiting beliefs? I want you to think about that. What are things that at times you believe about yourself, believe about the circumstances you're currently in, or when you think about your dream, why that dream seems so far out in the distance? I want you to think about that for a moment, and I want you to write something on your paper of what that is. Brene Brown says, when we deny the story defines us. What that means is when we deny our self-limiting beliefs, if we deny, say, oh, those don't exist, I don't struggle with any of those things, then that reality is actually what defines us. And yet when we can own our story and say, you know what, this is where I'm struggling. This is where I have a hard time believing that this is possible. I want to go back to school, but I don't have the money. I want to start a business, and this reason or that reason. So many different things that we allow to limit us. And yet if we can own our story, own our strengths, own where we struggle, we can write a brave new ending. And what that means is when you recognize your self-limiting beliefs and be intentional about overcoming them, it's amazing how you can bloom and grow as a person and step into your potential in a greater way than you would have if you did not face those self-limiting beliefs. So I encourage you to think about that. What are those things that you've believed that are holding you back? And think of ways that you can be intentional about overcoming them. And the way we overcome those things is that every lie is dispelled by truth. Where we're inadequate, we can get the skills and the training that we need. Where we feel we lack, when we recognize that and we seek out opportunities to grow in that area, we will really surprise ourselves. I describe it like a rose. A rose in itself is absolutely beautiful. And yet until that rose opens up, the fragrance of that rose is not able to fill the room that it is in. And as we are really honest with ourselves and really own our story and write that new ending, the fragrance of that rose can fill the room. It can fill the lives of those that we touch. Walt Disney. Hopefully everyone on this call, I could imagine, knows who Walt Disney is. He is an icon. He has been around. It's amazing the impact of his life. And yet it's said about Walt Disney said it all began with a dream. I want you to think about it. The dreams that you have in your heart, the dreams that you've written on your paper, you never know the life or the lives that could be touched, and the ripple effect, not only in your lifetime, but to potentially for generations to come, if you will step into your dream and step onto the path of your potential. He said, if you can dream it, you can do it. You have to see yourself doing and seeing your dream become a reality. Whatever that is, if that's a person you want to become, something you want to do with your life, I want you to take a moment and think about yourself stepping into that dream in a way that you could not imagine before. Allow yourself permission to believe that you can step into your full potential. There's a principle that says what you believe, you will receive. What you believe is possible, you will walk towards and can make that become a reality. I want you to think about that for a moment. Each one of you have tremendous potential that is far greater than what you have even begun to scratch the surface of. You simply need to begin to allow yourself to dream like you've never dreamed before. This was an amazing quote. It says, how many times was Mickey Mouse in his theme park rejected? 300 times. That is staggering. And yet he would not give up on his dream. He refused to give up on his dream. And that is what made the difference. And each one of us, there's sometimes we're going to hit bumps in the road and we're going to get discouraged, but we need to keep moving towards our dream. We need to be like the little engine that could. How many of you remember that story, that child's story? Many of us either read it or saw the video. And really what it was this little engine had a dream. And that dream seemed impossible in the natural. But that little engine would not give up. That little engine was determined to keep going. And it was, I think I can, I think I can. And that kept moving forward. And because that little engine didn't give up, it accomplished its dream. No matter what your dream is or how crazy big it is, don't give up on your dream. You are tailor-made for your dream. No one else on the planet has the same mix of talents, abilities, passions, insights, perspectives than you do. You talk to any baker or any chef, and they will tell you if you mix up the ingredients just a little bit, you're going to get a different outcome. So even if dreams are similar, they will not be expressed the same way. You need to believe that your dream is worth you pursuing, not just someone else doing it, but that your dream is worth you pursuing. And that you're not too young, you're not too old, you're not the wrong gender, you're not the wrong ethnicity, or any of the reasons that we give ourselves. You are perfectly tailored for your dream. And you need to allow yourself to step into that dream in a way that you haven't up to this point. Winston Churchill. He is known all over the world. He was invited to speak at a graduation ceremony, and the students were all eager. What would the world-renowned Winston Churchill have to say? He got up, fixed his suit, and he said, never, never, never give up. And he sat down. The audience was stunned. And suddenly, as the impact of his words settled in their hearts, they rose to their feet and gave the loudest standing ovation that anyone has ever heard. There are many things in this life that would be easy for us to give up on our dreams. It would be easy to give up on the things that help us step into our potential. There's many things that could, and even simply the busyness of life that we can just kind of coast through life. You need to settle within your heart that you are worth stepping into your full potential, whatever that may be, your dreams, your goals, they are worth you pursuing. To go back over where we've been, first and foremost, give yourself permission to dream. Can every one of us here tonight give ourselves permission to dream in a new way, dream at a new level, that we take the lid off of where we've allowed ourselves to go up until this point? Can we make that commitment tonight that we will take the lid off of ourselves and what we saw as our potential, what we saw as the limits to our dream? Can we give ourselves permission tonight to dream at a new level? Are you willing to do that tonight? Good. You may be like Tim, and that you may fly in your own way. It'll be good. And some of you need to dare to dream again. Some of you, the dream has been on the back burner. For others, you've allowed the dream to die. You thought that there was no way possible that that dream could come to fruition. I want to encourage you to dare to dream again. I want you to identify clearly what your dream is. And don't compare your dreams to anyone else. There's a saying that says, those who compare themselves amongst themselves is unwise. Or in other places, it says you're a fool. It's not an equal comparison. No one is quite like you, and no one could fulfill your dream the way that you can. If you will dare to step into that dream and dare to step into your potential. Know your why. Why is that dream important to you? Why is that dream important to you? That will keep you going. You will be willing to make sacrifices. You will do things for your dream when you have a clear why. Walk towards your dream. As you walk towards it, just like Indiana Jones, as he was going towards that cliff, it seemed like there was no way he would make it. And yet when he got there, the bridge appeared. And as we walk towards our dream, the path will open up. We will see opportunities that we didn't see before. We'll be willing to explore things and find out that there are ways that that dream can become a reality that we did not even imagine before. It will take you walking towards your dream and being very intentional about that. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and believe in your dream. It's amazing the difference having people like that around us make. How many in the room either have children or they have nieces or nephews? You're around children. Can I see a raise of your hand? Okay. One of the things about kids, we're always cheering them on. You can do it. You can do it. And there are times, even as adults, we need the people to do that for us. And it may sound different. If you think of a child, though, they're willing to step out of their comfort zone because their parent or someone else believed in them and believed in their potential. What they did is they borrowed that person's belief in them until that belief became their own. And there are times that that's what we need to do. When we're around people that believe in us and believe in our potential, and we're really struggling, it's like, I don't know, I can't see it. We need to borrow their belief in us and just walk towards that dream. And as we do, that belief will become our own, and we'll be able to own it, and we will have a confidence that will rise up within us. We will find ourselves being able to do things that we never thought we could ever do before. Never, never underestimate the power of encouragement, of you having people around you who encourage you, but also the difference you can make by encouraging someone else along the path that they're on. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and believe in your dream. Number 6, recognize your self-limiting beliefs and seek to overcome them. That is a big one. We need to own our story so that we can write a new ending. Know where we struggle and what can we do to overcome those things that have held us back. Again, it's about intentionality. And number 7, never, never give up. Your dream is worth you pursuing. No one else on the planet is quite like you. You have the ability and the potential to make a mark on the world in a way that no one else can. I encourage you to do that. In the handouts that I'm going to give out to you, there's an action plan. And we talked about these things tonight. What is your dream? What is your why? What specific steps are you taking to walk towards your dream? Tonight, I want all of us to leave this place with at least one action step that we can take towards our dream. Whatever that looks like for you, I want you to be intentional about that, of putting down at least one, ideally 2 or 3. Again, recognizing your self-limiting beliefs. What are specific actions you can do to overcome those self-limiting beliefs? And then the last one, who are the people that believe in you and can help keep you accountable in your efforts to walk towards your dream? In my journey of writing the book, I have people that in their own way keep me accountable and keep me on that track of writing the book. And because of their encouragement and their consistency, I am making some very significant progress on that book. And the book is very much because of just their encouragement in many ways. And the next handout that you're going to get, this is something that's really interesting, and it may seem a little different than what we talked about tonight, but it's actually right along line. And what this is, it's actually an interest profile. And the reason I included this is that there are a lot of people, they are in jobs that they're perfectly capable of doing. They have the skills to do it. They can do it well. One slight problem, they are not operating in their passion zone. And it's something, when you understand your passion zone, you understand your dreams, the things that you value, they all go in that same vein. And there are some other assessments, online assessments. This was one that was a PDF version. Like I said, I'm gonna send it out to you. And I want to encourage you that if you will dare to step into your dream, if you will dare to step onto the path of your potential, it will be the most incredible gift that you can give yourself this holiday season, your family, your loved ones, the world that you touch. Because as we step onto the path of our potential, we're able to flourish in a way that we don't any other way. And we'll discover that we come alive in a way that we only dreamed of. And I encourage you to do that this holiday season. I encourage you to dare to dream. Mr. District Director.